All right, it's 1:03. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today on our San Joaquin Valley REAP program webinar, every other month webinar now. Implementing accessory dwelling units is the topic today. We have a great array of panelists to share with you information. Before we get started, let me just do a little bit of housekeeping. I'm Michael Segala, housing planning and urban planning consultant here in Fresno Clovis area. I have Robert Phipps with me, the interim executive director of Fresno COG. Him and I manage the REAP program for the Valley. I'll introduce our panelists in a second. We'll be having 4 presentations today, 4 speakers. You can raise your hand or use the question and answer function or the chat function should you have any questions. We may take questions in between speakers or we may take them at the end, so we'll be monitoring that. Today's webinar is about 1 hour or less. It is eligible for AICP CM credit, and I'll share that course number during the webinar as well. The webinar today is being recorded and the slides that you see will be posted to the San Joaquin Valley REAP website in a couple of days, and then I will send a post-webinar evaluation form to all of the attendees as well to help us with our programming as we move forward. A couple notes here. The San Joaquin Valley REAP program was a great program of planning assistance and tools to facilitate additional housing in the San Joaquin Valley. That program was state funded and it is ending at the end of this calendar year, 2024. So we do thank everyone who's joined us for the past 2 or 3 years. We will have 1 more webinar, or possibly 2 more, and then we'll sort of collapse the REAP program. So we do appreciate everyone, and we will miss everyone as well. So thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and roll into the program here. Today we have, this is the 3rd time I think we feature ADUs in our webinar. It's a very popular topic. As you know, housing affordability is a big issue in our state, and ADUs are a big thing here in the Valley. They're a bigger thing in the coastal areas. But I think there's a lot of interest throughout the Valley, which explains the high participant number today. Today we have, let me introduce our panelists. Monique Emerson with Precision Engineering and Jenna Chilgarian with Precision Engineering. They handle the REAP program for ADUs that you'll hear about in a bit as well. So they've been really helpful with all the cities here in the Valley. And then we have 2 other special guests, Isaac Garza from the city of Fresno and Leah Brown from the city of Merced. And they will share how they're doing their ADU programs in their communities and what are the things that they're focusing on to help facilitate greater growth in ADU development. So that is it. Robert, do you have anything else to add before we hand it over?
No, only again, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your participation and hope that you'll fill out the post-webinar survey to let us know how we're doing, whether you find these webinars useful. And we hope to be back in another couple of months with a small lot study, a webinar that we will present to you as well. One of the last of the Valley-wide REAP products that we plan on delivering. So look forward to that. And thank you, Michael. And we'll be here to take your questions. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and proceed. Precision Engineering, you're up.
Great. Thanks, Michael. Let me get the screen share going. Okay, so Michael alluded to this, but we will be presenting a couple of things today, starting with ADU regulation. So I'll take on that very exciting topic here in the next couple of slides. And then Monique will give an overview of what we've been up to with the San Joaquin Valley REAP ADU program. And then we'll hear from the city of Merced and city of Fresno about their ADU implementation, and then we'll take questions. So ADU regulations, I'm going to go over a few things, including recent state ADU law, a summary of regulatory changes from 2023 and 2024, new laws, now what, so some next steps, what you can still control locally, and then some common mistakes to avoid. So when I say recent, I'm thinking 2023 to 2024. I'm going to start with bills that became effective in 2024 here on the left. So I'll go over 4 bills and then also two bills from 2023 that included a lot of different changes. And if you're looking for laws prior to 2023, we did do an ADUs 101 in August 2021, and then ADUs 201 in 2022 through this webinar series. And so when you do get this PowerPoint, those are links to those webinars. Take a look at. So starting with 2024, this first bill, relocation and consolidation. So for each of these bills, I'm going to go over the background, summary, and then what it means for you. So a lot of text here, but hopefully you can revisit this on your own time. So for the background, prior to March of this year, state ADU law was organized into numerous government code sections. So hopefully 65852 sounds familiar to you because that is where ADU law was generally located before March of this year. So the summary of this bill is that it adds a new chapter, which I'll show you in a second, and organizes the regulations into smaller sections by topic area, which I think is pretty helpful. And these changes are only organizational, so there's no content or substance changes here from this bill. So what it means is when you're updating your ADU ordinance, you should make sure you update any references to 65852, to these new government code sections. Not new, but new location. So there's 4 articles starting with general provisions, ADU approvals, JDUs, and ADU sales. So these are all hyperlinked here for when you revisit this PowerPoint later. And on the right, I just noticed in an HCD comment letter that this is what they're providing at the end of their letters now to show the new government code section and the previous government code section. So that might be helpful to you. The second bill of 2024 that I'll cover is ADUs sold separately as condos. So I'm sure you've all heard of this by now. This went into effect in January. So prior ADU law prohibited ADUs from being sold or otherwise conveyed separately, except as provided by the law. So that you should be familiar with some of the exceptions around qualified nonprofit corporations. So what this bill does, it now authorizes a local agency to opt in to adopt a local ordinance to allow, ADUs to be conveyed separately as condos. So I just want to point out that this is an opt-in thing. So you can opt in, and if you do opt in, you need to have an ordinance under this bill. The third bill is owner occupancy beyond 2025. So previous law, which I have cited there, prohibited local agencies from imposing owner occupancy requirements, beyond 2020 or until 2025, and then something was going to change and, local control would go into effect after 2025. However, this bill now removes altogether the owner occupancy requirements and permanently allows ADUs to be used strictly for rental purposes, regardless of owner's residency on the property. So what does this mean for you? So in your, update of your ADU ordinance, make sure you remove any owner occupancy restrictions by the start of next year. This is the fourth and final bill that went into effect in 2024, and this is pre-approved ADU plans. So there's a couple things here. So existing law was, silent on pre-approved ADU plans, and there was a requirement that local agencies were to approve or deny a complete ADU application within 60 days. And that includes all sign-offs, from all the different reviewing agencies or departments. So now this bill requires that local agencies develop a program for pre-approval by January of 2025. And it includes a streamlining provision for those pre-approved plans. Now your timeline here for pre-approved plans is 30 days. And it also requires local agencies to maintain a website with the plans and provide contact information of companies that offer pre-approved plans. So what does this mean for you? So here's a big ask here, but local agencies should adopt pre-approved plans, update your websites, and establish an internal streamlined permitting process. So in this case, make sure that, all of your reviewing, divisions understand that the clock is now 30 days. and do all that by 1/1/25. So no pressure there. Okay, so now I'm getting into 2023 laws, and this is a lot. So the next slide might be overwhelming. I'm just giving you a heads up. So this is more of a general ADU law update, I'd say. So these two bills include numerous substantial changes to state ADU law, and local agencies should amend their ordinance. So if you haven't updated your ordinance since 2022-ish, it's likely that your ordinance is non-conforming. But that is for you to, I guess, review and make sure you are in compliance, but we do offer technical assistance, which we'll get into. So here is that overwhelming summary. These are 14 points here. I'm not going to read all of them, but I will say that generally, these are for clarification to interpretations. So things that we previously, prior to 2023, kind of had an understanding of, this is how the state interprets this requirement. The state went in and, through this bill, it's much, I don't know if it's much clearer, but it's a little bit clearer and their interpretations have been made. So these are the 14 points. I'll say that, ADU ordinances may only impose objective standards. There's some stuff here about fire sprinklers, denial, height, a bunch of stuff. So I definitely recommend, if you haven't, touched ADU law or your ordinance since, 2022, these two bills are pretty substantial and have a lot of things that have been clarified or added. So new laws now what? So as always, cities and counties are mandated to permit ADUs and JDUs, but you're not required to adopt an ADU or JDU ordinance. That's still the case here. And if you don't adopt an ADU ordinance, you just default to state law. And if you do adopt an ordinance, these are kind of the next steps for you. So you'll submit a draft ADU ordinance to HCD. And then you'll receive a letter back, and then you'll have 30 days to respond. So I have a link here, and that takes you to this page. This is a screenshot from HCD's website. And you would click this button to request an ordinance. And then I highly recommend, which I'll talk about this in a second, they include ordinance review letters and responses in this Excel spreadsheet. And I just took a look today, and their most recent letters went out in like a month ago. So there's some new recent letters that you can review and see how, HCD is interpreting things, or how, the new laws apply. And that, I think that's really helpful. So local control, what can be regulated? We've included this in our previous webinars, but I had to take a couple of things out because of new state law. So, you can designate and restrict where ADUs are permitted based on, these factors, but you have to, have evidence, and things have to be in writing. You can eliminate or reduce parking requirements. You can consider flexibility when citing off-street parking. You can specify finished materials and roof forms, but only if those standards are clear and objective. And now you can allow separate conveyance of ADUs as condos, but you have to have that local ordinance to opt into that. So some common mistakes to avoid, so missing references or limited definitions, any sort of restrictions that do not meet state minimums, requiring discretionary review or public hearings, for a certain extent. I know that I've seen some agencies get creative with the state exempt ADUs, and then anything beyond, that there are some discretion I've seen. So requiring deed restrictions without referencing exemptions, subjective, anything subjective at this point, occupancy limitations or bedroom restrictions, and then utility connections and fee requirements for, there's different thresholds that can be met. So this is all coming from just a review of all those ADU ordinance review letters from HCD and just compiling it into a few bullet points. So this is what HCD generally will comment on when they review ADU ordinances. And I think that's it from me. I'm going to pass it over to Bonique, and Thank you.
We do
Jenna?
have one question at this
Go ahead.
point.
Okay.
Does state law require posting of multiple pre-approved plans? Our city has been approached to post pre-approved plans from a separate private entity.
I will, I have the laws pulled up and I can give a more definitive answer in the comments.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Monique Emerson. I'm going to be going over the San Joaquin Valley REAP ADU program, which we've talked about previously, but I'm going to be just giving a little bit of update and reminder, and there might be some people on this webinar who aren't familiar with this ADU program. Next slide. So just touching on our previous workshop. So as Jenna mentioned before, we had an ADUs 101 where we went over basics, implementation, and that's available on the website there. And then ADUs 201, implementing ADUs in the San Joaquin Valley. And again, that's also available on the website. Next slide. So also on the San Joaquin Valley REAP ADU website are the tools that are available. So this is the suite of technical assistance tools that are provided on the website. I will say that some of these items are a little bit outdated and we're working on updating them. In particular, the ADU ordinance template, as Jenna mentioned previously, a lot has changed in terms of state law. So my recommendation is if you do need assistance with your ADU ordinance, that you go through, instead of using this template on the website for now, to request technical assistance, and we could help you with that. So I'll talk a little bit, kind of touch on a couple of these things in the next slide. So in terms of technical assistance, and this is still available. It's as Jenna has, or we posted here, act now. It's we only have until October. So if you're interested, let us know soon. But what's available is ADU plan sets, ADU ordinance review and revisions, and then we have various types of assistance related to ADUs. And we have, for example, we have a how-to guide, informational handouts, building permit checklists, and internal policy and procedure documents. Next slide. So this is just showing the ADU plan sets that are available. Just as a reminder, there's 375 square foot plan, 550 square foot plan, 775 foot plan, and a 908 square foot plan. And there's 3 styles available for all 4 floor plans. Next slide. So this is just a quick overview of what's included in the plan set. So you can see on the left-hand side, and then on the right-hand side is the responsibility of the applicant. So of course, site plans, these are, because all of these are going to be put on a specific site. But with our guide document, it kind of goes through how someone were to, if someone wanted to prepare their own site plan or plot plan, how they would do that. Trust calculations, of course, permanent application fees, development impact fees if required, and other miscellaneous reports. Next slide. So just diving a little bit deeper into our one of the tools, or sorry, technical assistance available. So ADU ordinance review and revisions. So what we typically do is if you request assistance, we'll set up a meeting with you and kind of go through all of the things we have to offer. And specifically related to ordinance review and revisions, what we do is we meet with staff to understand needs, modify the ordinance template to be specific to the jurisdiction, prepare, and most jurisdictions we stop there because that's what they request, is that we review their existing ordinance, but we could take it a step further and prepare the staff report, or also take your ordinance to council or board for approval. So, and we've worked with, how many jurisdictions, Jenna, have we worked with so far?
It's around 15.
We're at 15, and so it really just depends on what you need. We can do as much or as little as you like. Next slide. Here's some additional examples of the assistance we provide. So there's an example there on the left of our how-to guide. That's for the city of Lodi there. In the center, That's an example of a permit checklist that we did for Madera County. And on the right is an informational handout that we've done for the city of Atwater. And so, as Jenna mentioned before, there is a deadline coming up for implementing an ADU program. So if you have any interest, let us know. Again, we use the tools we've already adopted and we customize them to each individual jurisdiction. We definitely do not reinvent the wheel every time we implement a program. We're just customizing what we have to your specific jurisdiction. So the process is relatively fast. The longest part of the process is typically taking the plans through your plan check review and making those corrections specific to your jurisdiction. So if you have any interest, there, I think maybe on the next slide, there's the website, maybe. Or let me go.
No, but this, you can come.
Oh, there we go. There we go. So there's a place at the on that website where you can request technical assistance, and it'll go over to Robert, and then he'll let us know that someone has requested assistance, and we will set up that meeting with you. Again, if anyone's interested, we only have a couple of months left, and so if you're interested, we do ask that we move quickly in that you make a commitment to just working with us through the process so we can get this all completed before the end of October. And that is all I have. Available for questions now or at the end. Thank you.
We do have a few questions. Michael, is this appropriate or you want to wait to the end?
No, now it's fine. Let's get
Okay.
it on play.
Yeah, I see a couple I can answer, but go ahead.
Yeah, so is the owner occupancy agreement no longer required for JADUs as well?
I think it's still required, but I will confirm
Okay.
during this meeting or webinar.
Okay, and then we have, are there good sources or examples to know how ADUs can be regulated in historic districts and or on historic properties?
So I haven't dealt with that yet in my ordinance review and assistance for jurisdictions. I'd say maybe City of Fresno might have something because I know they have historic districts, or maybe somebody on this call has a good example. So I might
we've met with historic preservation, the board, and we are limited because of the state law says that you can't really implement too many design restrictions. But it's more of we're just trying to tell them, hey, we want you to try to either complement or something that even they said they're okay with something that looks completely different than the existing historic building, so that way they can tell the difference that this is a historic building and this is a new building. They said that they're all right with that as well, but if they're going to match it, and a lot of people that own these properties, they are pretty good stewards of history. A lot of them do try to make sure that they look similar to the existing residents. So we just try to guide them in that direction, but we can't put too many restrictions or you have to do it this way type of conditions on them due to the state laws that there are in place.
Okay, is there any? I guess just to be clear, are there any written examples? Are there that we know of any guidance specifically to historic districts?
Not right now, no. Not that I've seen.
Okay.
Not that I've seen. Yeah, they haven't came out with any type of guidelines or anything. And the way the state has made it is they've said that they do not want to restrict the creation of ADUs. So that's kind of where we're at right now with it.
Very good. Okay. Let's see. Just to clarify, if an agency opts in to allow ADUs to be sold as a condo, it would be regardless if it is deemed affordable or not. Is that correct?
You guys, these things are hard to answer on the spot. So I have all the laws pulled up. So give me a second and I will type answers.
Okay. All right. Is solar required for ADUs? I believe it is now, right? As I understand.
Yes, it
most-
has to, you have to have enough solar to cover both the main house and the ADU. So if you don't have it on the main house, you could actually put it on the roof of the main house. So you don't have to necessarily just have a little bit on the ADU. At least that's what was told to me by my building inspector.
Okay. Is there a handy ADUs regs metrics on state code which shows required versus optional or opt-in regular regs?
I haven't seen one and we haven't created one, but I've read enough ADU ordinances at this point that I can help get that. I can probably piece something together as part of the REAP program.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you're in the process of updating a lot of that now.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you, Jenna. And then City Visalia has similar questions. We're trying to draft, this is more of a comment, I guess. We're trying to craft objective standards that essentially call for compatibility with the primary residence. Okay. And I think that's everything at the moment.
There was one more that I responded
Oh.
to in writing. Are the guides and checklists also available in Spanish?
Oh.
And so we have already translated the handouts. So the handouts are like one pagers, like ADU basics and ADU conversions, and those have already been translated to Spanish. So that's like we could send that out today if you needed one. But we haven't translated the guide yet because we haven't received a request to do so, but we can definitely do that as part of this program.
Very good. So another one just popped up. Solar is required for just for newly constructed ADUs, not conversions, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then another one, follow-up question on the solar requirements. At least I hope that's follow-up. I thought solar was only required when the ADU was detached. So it was a conversion and the main home didn't have solar. I thought it wasn't required.
If it's a new ground up construction ADU, then it requires solar because it's determined by the energy Title 24 calculations. That's what determines every time you do a new construction, Title 24, solar is going to be a requirement. If you don't input solar, then you're going to get penalized really bad. It's going to be very difficult for your energy compliance to meet state guidelines, state code.
Okay. Next question from Michelle Harris. We'd like to come up with a resolution and a policy for ADUs. This is something that we are just now starting to see. Is this something we can get help with? And the answer is yes. And if you look at the, Michael has been input the actual link for technical assistance. There's a portal that you can use through San Joaquin Valley cogs.org to get that technical assistance. Tell us what you need, and we'll get you hooked up with Precision to continue that conversation and get you going. That's in the chat. The link is live in the chat. All right. Yeah, so if there aren't any other questions, we're going to keep going with our presentations. Michael?
Yes, thank you, Robert. We're going to now talk to the city of Merced. Leah Brown will enlighten us about what's going on there in terms of ADUs. Go ahead, Leah.
Thank you, Michael. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. I've got my presentation, share. Okay, you should be seeing my presentation now. Hang on, let me move the one thing over. Okay, so I'm here to show you our ADU program. Oops, I got something. Turn that off. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, so just a little about the funding background and deliverables. Our project was funded by an SB2 planning grant program in 2022. We went ahead and went forward with a request for proposals for design professionals and those that had experience in ADU programs. And of course, we chose Precision because they're awesome and I so appreciate their help. We actually have an award-winning program with Precision. We were just awarded program award from the APA. Is that right? I'd have to look exactly. Anyway, it was exciting. So also in 2022, Precision was contracted to update our ADU ordinance using our LEAP planning grant funds. So we did both the program and the ordinance. We kind of took our time on the ordinance, which is good. We ended up implementing that in 2023. And the one thing I have to share and encourage people to do is that in the beginning of our ordinance, it talks about changes and how frequently the state changes ordinances. We put in a caveat that indicated that if there was any discrepancies between our ordinance and state law, that the state law would supersede a local ordinance. That way it kind of covers any changes that would be happening in the future. And obviously changes are constantly happening with this ordinance. So as far as deliverables, we asked for 3 design sets for 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units available with multiple architectural styles. So each one can have a different facade. We wanted options. So the 1 bedroom could be a 1 bedroom or it could be a studio. And the 2 bedroom was designed to be a 1 bedroom with flexible space or an actual 2 bedroom. And we wanted them to be affordable by design. So the features included in like the kitchens would include space for standard size appliances. Also, the 1 and 2 bedroom units are sized so that they are not subject to public facility fees. So I believe the 2 bedroom was like 749 square feet and PFFP fees come in at 750 square feet. So you only have to pay PFFP for the 3 bedrooms. Other deliverables were a design workbook, very similar to what Monique and Jenna had showed us, but customized for us, and an ADU how-to guide for specific to the city of Merced. And what I'm going to show you is pieces of our website, because the program is completely on our city website, and you've got the link here, and there's different pages that lead you to different portions. I'm going to kind of share with you what you can see through there. We also have hard covers or hard copies of the model and the ADU how-to guide here in the office, so that people that come to the counter and have questions can look through one of the programs here. So this is the face screen of our pre-approved ADU program. And at the bottom of each screen, there's more links. So down here, you've got a link to your how-to guide and a link to your design model workbook. And this is the face of our how-to guide. And what's included is, again, it's available online and hard copies available here in the planning counter. It's a 30-page booklet. Inside, you've got introduction, information about ADU basics, how to build an ADU in the city of Merced, our pre-approved ADU program. So they could conceivably go out and get their own design professional and go about it that way, or we introduce them to our pre-approved ADU program. And then within this book, there's resources, contacts, and further reading. And this is the face of our design model workbook. And we've got different pictures here. And within the workbook, there are 3 design sets. So each of these also is a screenshot from our webpage. So we've got our 1 bedroom or studio at 498 square feet. And it could be a little cottage or studio. Then you've got your 749 square foot 2 bedroom or 1 bedroom with flex space. And then we've got our 1,190 square foot 3 bedroom 2 bath unit. This could also be really done as a standalone home if somebody wanted to use these designs for a little home on a small infill parcel. So that's an option too. And you'll notice at the bottom of each little website here, you've got a cover sheet link. You've got a link to a waiver and release, and a link to how to submit plans. And that actually takes them to our inspection services page that explains everything they need to do to submit plans. Now, these are pre-approved plans, but they would need to submit their electrical, mechanical, those types of plans. They would need to submit their solar. If they needed fire sprinklers, they would have to submit that also. As far as ADU law goes, if the primary home has fire sprinklers, then the ADU has to have fire sprinklers. So that's important to know on that. When we implemented and rolled out the program, we realized that we really wanted to this is for City of Merced residents ultimately. And so we want to know a little bit about you before we give you the whole enchilada, the whole set. And so there's a sheet index here that lets people know what they will be receiving, and it lets them know specifically what additional submittals there are. There's a lot of owner builders that think they're just going to pop it up without really getting in the weeds about what's necessary. So we wanted everybody to know you need your building permit application, your site plan, your roof framing, truss calculations, and so on. We also give them the specific plan they want. So we need to know, okay, do you want the 1-bedroom, the studio, and what architectural style do you want? What's the address this is going to be at? And then we have them kind of fill in some more contact information. So this they need to fill out in order to get the plan sent to them. They also need to fill out their waiver and release. And then this is just a page example of one of the plan set sheets, because again, owner builders might not realize the detail involved in a set of plans. And this is why we don't give them all of them, because it's just too much information to send out. So we do one at a time. And that's our program. So if you have more questions, that's my contact information. And that's the address of our ADU program page. Any questions?
Do we have any questions specific to the City of Merced program? We do have some questions in the Q&A, but they're not specific to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, to Merced.
I'm gonna go ahead and
Yep.
stop sharing then.
Lots of good questions and answers going on in Q&A, so read that as we move along here, folks. Thank you, Larry. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
You for sharing us, outlining your process there, Merced. Very informative. Next, and not least, is Isaac Garza with the City of Fresno. Go ahead, Isaac.
All right, let me share my screen here.
Oh, very quickly, we do have one question for City of Merced. Does the City of Merced charge for the use of those plan sets?
No, we do not.
Okay.
Nope, it's free.
Oh, and then wait, I saw another one. How many applications have you received to date?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me for that. And unfortunately, I didn't pull the data, but if I get an email, I will send it to you. I can tell you we've had quite a bit more interest of late in our design plans. I just don't have the numbers. I apologize.
Okay. All right, thank you. Let's see, Leah, can you elaborate? Do you do allow residents to use the pre-approved plans as their primary residences?
They could. We actually had an interested party. It was an affordable developer. And they actually ended up going with something else, but we were working with them on it. They needed more technical assistance. I think they thought they were going to do it without a contractor. So again, it's important that people know that there are more submittals necessary to be able to use this. So they would have to have, their utilities designed for them. And I think that they just were under a misconception that they could just pop it up, but they can definitely use this because this whole portion is pre-approved.
Okay, and then does Merced charge a set amount for impact fees on an ADU?
No, because it depends on the size. If it's under 750 square feet, there is no charge, and it's a proportionate number if it's smaller than the average house size. So we have a lot of homes in Merced that are smaller than the average, which I think is around 1,600 square feet. And so if it's less than that, it's a discount.
All right. And then do you charge any community facility district fees?
It depends on where it's located.
Okay.
So yes, we do, but a lot of these units are more attractive to our older neighborhoods in town where they have larger lots. And so those are not in CFDs.
All right, thank you. I think that is it for the Merced specific questions for now.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
sure.
Isaac?
All right, so I'm gonna be talking today about implementing pre-approved ADU plans and an ADU program for your jurisdiction. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of go over the steps that we took to implement our program. First, we put together an ADU design team. So this design team establishes all of the guidelines for your designs of the ADU. They review the schematic designs provided by the design firm. They create standard operating procedures. Usually this team is comprised of one staff member that's an experienced planner. They usually have really good knowledge of the municipal code, any special districts in your jurisdiction, one or two experienced staff members from building and safety. These staff members should be knowledgeable in architecture, structural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, energy, solar design, and code requirements. So if possible, you could want to bring in a long-range planner or even a fire department engineer that's familiar with residential applications and reviews. The ideal team size is probably 3 to 5 staff members. If you get more than that, then it kind of starts, delaying things, or you get too many ideas on the table. So when you start putting together your design guidelines for the plans that your jurisdiction wants to offer to the public, you got to think about how many designs that you want to provide, the different square footage ranges of each design. So like Leah was talking about, less than 500 square feet, there's no school fees. Less than 750 square feet, no impact fees. What type of options do you want to offer the public? So exterior finishes, stucco, siding, things, roof, do you want gables, hips, monoslope? Do you want to have a porch option, interior options like a bedroom or a study? If you're going to offer the applicant, either the plan has just conventional framing or truss framing. If it's going to be all electric, that's the way the energy code is moving people in that direction, to just provide electric appliances. So it does save applicants that extra utility of running gas to the back of the property where the ADUs are normally located. So those are some of the things that your design team that you put together within your jurisdiction would think about and put together when you're kind of coming up with your design guidelines for your RFQ. You want to talk about too, if you want copyrights for these plans. The city of Fresno, we got copyrights to the plans. It was part of the agreement with the design firm that we went with. Do you want to get someone local in your jurisdiction? Do you want to get a design firm that's in other areas? These are all things that you'll talk together and kind of go through. Interviewing the design firm after they respond and they meet the qualifications. And then I recommend you take a look at the construction documents as a whole, whatever they're providing you, if they can give you an example. So architectural, structural, if they're providing mechanical, electrical, plumbing, if they're providing PV solar, energy documentation, fire sprinklers. Our program has everything included with the plans. So the applicant, all they have to provide is a site plan. But these are things that your design team that you put together will have to determine if you want your jurisdiction to have these things all inclusive with the pre-approved plans that you provide, or you're going to make the applicant, provide these individual pieces for their application. So let's see here. So then you got to get into creating your standard operating procedures. So you want to get all departments, bring all departments involved into the discussion to establish the permitting process, planning, building, fire, public works, utilities, verify if your planning department's going to have any type of planning application or zone clearance requirements, review timeframes like Jenna was talking about. They're 2025, it's going to be pre-approved plans have to be issued within 30 days. We kind of touched on ADUs on historic preservation properties. So, you know, how you're going to handle that. You want to talk about that internally with your staff and departments. You need to create the forms that the applicants will need for submissions, resources to assist the public, ways to track ADU submissions. You're also, you want to decide if you're going to allow outside design professionals to submit and create their own standard plans. The city of Fresno allows that. Unfortunately, we haven't had any design professionals take advantage of that yet, but it's available to them. We've only had one developer, but they only provide that pre-approved plan in their as an option in their track that they build. So let's see. So then you're going to assign staff to the ADU program. So you start creating the actual ADU program. This staff's going to create many of the resources and work with the public directly with the following items: permit application packets and submittal information, create resource documents such as like an ADU guidebook, cost estimators, design and architect list. You're going to have to decide if you want this ADU program team to do outreach to the community. So any community events, home and garden shows, webinars, answering the public's questions via ADU email and call line. So we have established here at City of Fresno ADU email and call line, so the public can ask questions specifically about ADUs directly to that phone line or email. And then this staff is also that you assign to the ADU program. They're going to be continuously updating, you know, the applications, information on the website, resources, and plans if necessary. So let's see here. So we have 5 pre-approved plans that the city of Fresno offers to the public. So our plan 1 is 340 square feet. It's just a studio ADU with 3 different options. All plans have the 3 different options: the contemporary, the craftsman, and the gable. Plan 2 is 499 square feet. It's a 1-bedroom ADU. Plan 3 is 625 square feet, and it can be a 1-bedroom with a study or a 2-bedroom. They have the option on this one. All 5 plans too have front porch options, so they can add a front porch if they want to. That's a little bit bigger. Plan 4 is a 2-story with a garage on the lower level. And it's basically plan 3 on top of the garage for our plan 4. So it's the same 625, 1 or 2 bedroom based on the option they want to select. And plan 5 is our biggest plan that we offer for ADUs. It's 1,015 square feet. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. This one also has an option to make the 3rd bedroom a study if they wanted to. And like all 3, they have the 3 options for the exterior. So kind of our implementation timeline, the first quarter of 2020, we were awarded a LEAP grant, and the city council approved additional funding for the ADU program. Second quarter of 2020, the ADU design team was created, and they came up with the design guidelines, and we put a request for qualifications out for ADU plans. First quarter of 2021, we awarded the contract to an architectural firm. Third and fourth quarter of 2021, we assigned staff to ADU program, and standard operating procedures were being created for by the ADU design team. First quarter of 2022, plans were approved, ready for public use. Third quarter, we went in and we started updating for the new code, and then we started doing value engineering to the pre-approved plans that we received. So we had copyrights to them, and we basically did a redesign with the plans that we obtained. So because we felt that there were more economical ways of constructing them. First quarter of 2023, the revised plans were approved and ready for public use. our ADU website, guidebook, and resources launch on our webpage. And second quarter of 2023 to currently, we've done minor revisions to the plans. We've done public outreach and updating the resources for the public, as things come up. So to give you some data, since 2022, we have 2% have been finalized. We've had about 80 applications. 2% of them have been finalized. 30% of them are issued and currently being constructed. 28% have been reviewed. So they've come in, we've reviewed them, and they have correction comments. So we're waiting for the applicant to come back. 25% have additional info requested. So they might be missing something from their application, and we've told them, hey, we need you to provide some more information. 15% have been rejected because maybe they were proposing, we've had some where they're proposing two of the plans on one lot, and they already have a primary dwelling, or they just select the wrong type of application for some reason. The most popular pre-approved plans that we have, ADU Plan 1 is 11% of the applications. Plan 2 is 24%. Plan 3 is our most popular one. It gets 30% of all the applications have been Plan 3. Plan 4 is 8%. And Plan 5 has been 22% out of all the applications. And then the other 5, or the developer has done 5% of their own plan for their tract that they have had approved. So the number of pre-approved plans submitted from 2022 to now, in 2022, we had 8 applications for these pre-approved plans. 2023, we had 32. 9 months into 2024, we already got 39. So every year it's been increasing. Assuming by the end of this year, we'll probably be around 50 and change probably. Let's see here. So that's pretty much all the information that I have. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me directly. I pretty much answer the ADU email and phone line as well. There's our website to our ADU program. And if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Yeah, so we do have a question from Cristobal Carrillo, just to ask again, in Fresno's own development process for design guidelines, nothing has been nothing has been drafted to address ADUs subject to historic preservation review.
We've been talked to them, and right now there are no way that we can basically tell them, hey, it has to be this specific thing, because the way the state law is written is that you cannot make it a financial burden for them to construct it. The ADU state law does not have any guidelines for historic properties. So we've sat down, we've met about it, and I know our long range planning department has drafted some stuff that they're trying to implement, but it has to be reviewed by HCD and has to be approved by HCD before we can implement it into an ADU ordinance.
Okay. Are there any other questions specific to the Fresno program? We do have one other kind of general question while we're waiting. With California's ongoing insurance crisis, have there been any issues reported from applicants who are having issues getting their newly constructed ADUs insured, or perhaps losing their insurance coverage?
I haven't had any contact me concerning that.
That's a no, Leah? Nope. Okay.
Sorry, no, I haven't had any contact on that either.
Okay.
And I answered a bunch of questions, well, tried to, and tried to give links and things. I also wanted to give a shout out to Tom Black. I see that he's here. He's he was the architect for Merced ADU program and the duplex triplex program, and he helps a lot with the REAP program. So Tom is a great resource.
Yeah, and he offered that he would provide information if you would just send your email address to him. Does Fresno charge any community facility district fees?
No, I mean, we only have just our normal impact fees once they go over 750 square feet, but it's like Leah said, they are proportional compared to, they're not full price basically most of the time. They're, if you have a 2,000 square foot primary residence and 1,000 square foot ADU, then it's 50% of the impact fee. So, but we don't have any of the other ones, and anything over 500 square feet, school fees. If they want to connect new meters, things like that, they do have connection fees for new water
Mhm.
meters, new sewer
Yes.
connection fees. So if they want to do that, there are those fees based on how they want to do their utility connections.
There are though, there is an RTMF in Fresno, Regional Transportation Mitigation Fee that applies.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
separate from the
So-
cities, right?
So yeah, that is
Yeah.
anything over 750 square feet. So
Oh,
Also,
I thought that was less than 750. Okay.
yeah, that's it. You know, when we talked to them, they said it's it considered an impact fee. Anything over 750 square feet, then it comes to us, and it's the same thing. They'll do a portion of it. It's not the full amount.
Okay. From Carl Davidson and Kern, has Fresno had any developers develop existing vacant lots into a house and an ADU together?
Yeah, we have had some people come and they've done their own primary dwelling, and then they've selected one of our pre-approved plans for the ADU in the back. We also had one project that's a duplex with one of the pre-approved plans in the back as an ADU.
Okay, and then a couple of general questions. Although most of these pre-approved plans are meant to be freestanding, can they be attached to a structure if an applicant provides an approved attachment method, given if setbacks are okay?
For us, no, they're only meant to be new construction standalone. If they want to do a addition, then they would have to do some type of addendum to the plan, you know, and showing how they're connecting it. So,
Okay.
and at that point, they would have to provide their own construction documents for that you know, connection between the ADU and the existing residence.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyone else want to comment on this one?
no, that makes sense to me. I'm not in building, but I imagine the same would be true for us.
Okay. All right. Let's see, we've done that one. Reading the previous responses, I'm still a bit confused. If a jurisdiction has its own pre-approved plans, do we have to accept and post on the local jurisdiction website pre-approved plans from contractors?
The way we do it is they have to actually submit their plan, establish a template, they're go through a full plan check review. All the plans have to meet California code, and then it will be established as a pre-approved plan with the city of Fresno. And we haven't had anybody, you know, take advantage of that yet. But then we would probably update our website and begin to list them that, hey, this this design professional has provided plans, they've been approved, and it's a pre-approved plan in our system.
Okay. Leah, did you want to?
You know, we have not, that's a new law to me. So when I heard that, I thought to myself, well, they would have to go through the plan check process here. It's not like we're going to put someone's plans out there that saying they're pre-approved for the city of Merced without having them go through the plan check. So I'm assuming it's going to be just like what Isaac is referring to for Fresno.
All right. Do any of the jurisdictions require separate electric meters, electric and or gas meters for ADUs? I mean, Fresno, Isaac, you mentioned everything is electric, right? There's no gas that's being allowed for the ADUs.
Well, three out of 5 of our plans are all electric. 2 of them still have gas tankless water heaters, just because we didn't have room to put a heat pump water heater in the design when we started updating them. Because at first they were all designed with gas appliances, and when we did a code update, we switched as many as we could to electric. But because of the energy code requirements, the ADUs that we have, they are required to have their own main electrical service panel. So they can't run a sub panel and then tie into the existing residences electrical main panel. they're required to have their own. And the gas, we're okay with them, you know, tapping off the existing meter if they want, or getting their own meter if they want for the gas part, for the ones that do have gas. So they can work with PG&E or whatever the utility company is. And if they're allowed to put a second gas meter from the local utility company, then we're okay with that.
Okay.
Interesting.
And
I don't have anything to add regarding electricity, but regarding water and sewer, which are utilities provided by the city, per city ordinance, there is only one connection allowed per parcel. So they have to extend services from the house lines to that ADU. They can't have a separate meter for that. So if the meter is not sized appropriately, then they would have to pay to upgrade the meter to a 1-inch.
all right.
What about in Fresno, Isaac, on the city utilities?
They're allowed to, because every ADU gets assigned their own address, so they can open up a new water service with new meter if they want. So they can have 2 meters on one property and have a separate sewer connection if they want. They just have to pay the connection fees for them. If they do specify when they apply that they want to connect to existing, then we verify that what's there is in place, can handle, you know, the primary and the new ADU that they're constructing, that it's not negatively impacting the residents, the primary residents on the property.
All right. And then do you know if after 2025 pre-approved plans will include attached?
The city of Merced, it's really per agency, so we don't have any intention of going out again and getting new plans.
We don't either, because I mean, to attach to every residence, there's going to be different scenarios every time you do an attach addition to a existing residence. That's why sometimes I get calls, oh, can I use your pre-approved plans for a garage conversion? But garages are all different sizes and shapes. You can't make a pre-approved plan for a conversion of an existing space. There's just too many variables.
No, fair enough. And then Merced specifically, does Merced assign a separate address?
Yes.
Okay. And then another question that's been previously answered, how about pre-approved garage conversions? But that's again too many variables. As Isaac mentioned, Lee, I assume you
Yeah,
approve
they
that.
would have to have, again, we don't have pre-approved garage conversions. We have, you know, only what we have. And there's no stipulation that I could see in the law that says you have to have multiple different types. The city of Fresno and the city of Merced obviously do, but I don't have a garage conversion plan.
All right, and that's it for the questions for now, and we are a little bit over time, actually.
Yeah, and one of the rare times when we went over 1 hour, but it's a lot of great questions. I copied and pasted all the questions and answers, and I will include that in the follow-up information so everybody has that. Again, our next webinar is going to be in October on a small lot planning study for the San Joaquin Valley. That would be on October 22nd, and then we might have one more after that. So once again, thank you, everybody, and we will talk soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Thanks to our host. Bye-bye.